It is 10:16.
I call the meeting to order.
You better speak up a little bit. Incidentally, you were both good in town meeting. You can be heard and understood.
Well, that's,
Yeah, I was very surprised that it was as late.
It was, and I had trouble with that with the other people.
He's been to the right spot. He's not for it.
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
amazing. I
it
thought it was amazing.
also, I've also got volume control and that's what I do. I change it to speak different than different speakers. And where they're standing and so forth. But it didn't work very well for most of the time.
I thought Carol was, she was very nervous about it.
It's fine.
it's now probably about 10:20. I call the meeting to order. This is the Berlin Historical Commission on November 10th. And we have Larry present, Elaine, Mr. present, and myself, June. We have two sets of minutes. One was a regular meeting on the 13th, and the other was an extra meeting.
I always recommend it.
I know this one.
We need to move it, and
Is there any reason to take them up separately? Okay. I move to approve the minutes of October 13th and October 27th.
all those in favor, Barry,
Barry, aye.
June, so the next item is, how are we doing with the 2.5K? Do we have anything that we have to do?
Yes, I have to get a notification, but I'm not going to do that immediately.
Okay,
I'm going to work on it, and I'll give it to her, I'll do it here, because I want to get to, a lot of the contractors, we want them to see the code too far out, because of the way things are. So I figured, if we can get it out there.
This was a foundation stuff.
no,
Oh, no, for the two. Sorry. No, Tim,
2.5 is a little job that Tim recommended in the survey
Yeah,
to
finish
reopen the floor.
the things under the.
So that,
That should go. Yeah, and we, and at this point, the other people are coming in. So,
right, and, yeah.
and so, so there was no time up here this morning, so this afternoon.
so you follow up by writing the RFP.
No, I can't, how we're gonna do it, I gotta.
Okay,
Because,
so it might not be
Right.
that kind of proposal.
That's right, this is just good business practice. Just in the front. And in this case, because of the other survey,
Okay. So, and the other, the foundation.
We're gonna work on it.
And that's for the beginning of the year.
I'd like that done.
I invited him to, because he came up to speak to Elaine and elaborate on his concerns. I asked him specifically that when we have a contractor visit for the foundation, that if we can attend, that would help us. So, and he said he would.
Oh, you know who else is on? David, yeah, they just have to step with it. And then engineer. So,
He does something.
no,
he
no,
does.
he's trained.
So he does drainage, that's right.
You guys what?
Well, he deals with drainage issues.
Oh,
But anyway, we don't
I
mind.
think we need to examine a few of those things before we actually do. A more careful approach to that. For instance, the French drain thing, we really need one around the north end of the house in that area. The south end doesn't need it. That all drains down by itself. And a few of those things we should analyze, and maybe he's a good guy to do it with, so that we can be more detailed about things rather than the business.
But you're concerned, because any contract, everybody's gonna have a different approach.
Oh, definitely.
And if we, I don't want to specify things that once they get into it, make change. I mean, 'cause once they start doing any information, they're gonna be discovered.
Well, it's input from the two of them. That's how I look at it. They aren't going to determine what we do, but they can inform what time we have.
And it may produce some savings in the process. And the other thing is when Tim has done with the 2.5, that's going to modify.
Exactly.
I mean, the details of that contract, of that job, are going to, we've got to consider them still information.
I know, all of know how I was in the house, and we all had drainage issues. But it was because of other drainage issues. The singular grade for us, things like that. Old water pipes coming into the house.
Each place is a unique.
Exactly, and it's not, you're not expert, you know. We need professionals.
And this
And people who are
location,
experienced with
this location up against the hill, it's a rocky hill, plenty of rock on the ground. And with ledge near the surface and
we do have to get.
so we have to figure out what we need to address and what we don't need to address. I think once you've seen under that kitchen floor, you would probably like to see that it's dry. It's dry as a bone under there.
I can see that from the pictures, but, and we should show them the book.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I gave you a thumb drive with all those photographs of repairs that I had. And I thought that I also sent the same thing to Tim, but whether he looked at it or not, I don't know.
And all those pictures for them.
Well, I
A lot of
think,
them.
the ones that were in the book were not generated by Marty or stuff that I had, except there were a few little ones that I had that was passed along with me by Dick Wheeler. But what I gave Barry and Tim were all, I guess it was a combination of what really was relevant to the repairs that are in that book, and also more that Marty took. I that would go, so it's broader.
Yours is shorter.
Well, the book is broader in that it goes way back to when people were, when the building was bought and when people were thinking, it has all of that. But the thumb drive is more detailed, more recent repairs because I don't go back. Go back to 2004.
I reading through some of the Hearst House material. You guys bought the Hearst House when you were buying Barnes Road.
Oh, yeah, Oh, yeah.
It goes back to 1973.
it's almost 50 years ago.
June of 73.
Yeah.
You was in it. Months later. You were buying the house. And I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
It's really
And
funny.
then different perspectives.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, so,
I was, ask them that. I'm not gonna go out of my way to ask them that, but when it comes to do that, or when the field comes to fix our barn roof, replace our barn roof.
there's no, priority for having the fill done before the reopening of the floors, or
Yeah, we want them to finish.
we want them to finish in the other.
we want him to do, we want the fill to be
Fill's
finished.
done.
Right.
Fill's done before
Before we go.
we open up the floor.
Yes.
That's why we're not gonna send this in right away.
And part of that is just that we've got stuff in the back of the house now, so that we unlimited areas in the front. And we need to move it back up in the front before we open up the floor.
Okay.
I can see things a whole lot more clearly. Being done with that and CPA.
So,
No,
so the town collection, I think what I wanna talk about is that part one, which is of the digital for the imaging board. Part one, I wanted to, I got an estimate from EverPresent. And I worked with them with Bill Wheeler, because that's who we use to convert film into, I guess they gave him CDs, but they also gave him a computer download that the James put on file. So that you get more than just. And that's the company that gave me the estimate of $500. But my first question is, we have to give that up for a while, probably 3 weeks, maybe more than that, because you don't have to give it up until they're ready. But you said you have a copy of those two notebooks.
I have copies of it. And that was just so we have a copy to talk to someone.
So yeah, that was, no, that's good.
And there are, because of the nature of what they're copying, they're not great, but they are used. It'd be a few pages. And that's right, I can bring those up down.
You don't see that we have to make another
No, I don't,
photocopy.
no, I don't think so. I'll try to remember to bring that this afternoon.
We should, I know it's kind of tedious, but we should try to match up your copy with the original.
Oh, well.
so that we feel,
You can, and I mean, you don't need to look at every page, but the point is, get a feel for it, and that'll take all the time.
well, it might take me one.
Well, I mean, you just have to look at them and see, can I basically read what's on this page over here? And you look at a few different pages, and that'll be enough to tell you whether you think you need to make a new copy. But those were made, I don't know, 15, 20 years.
And have you looked at those?
I did pull them out and look at it, when we started talking about this. I pulled them out and looked at it, and, yeah, I mean, as I say, they're not great. By today's standards, they're not great, but they were.
I was just thinking, I think Gary said a really good scanner in Paramount.
Well, we've got scanners, Eloise has got one.
I'm not, I don't really, if we find that the copy is okay. I
Yeah,
don't-
that's it.
I don't-
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to
really-
handle it.
No,
I don't really want to waste it.
No.
no.
We can be careful.
The whole point is, you look at this copy and see if you think it's good enough for us to have as our backup for the present. For the person this other job is done, we're gonna have plenty of it. Backup.
The other thing, in the meantime, if you have any pictures, we should, I would refer to you to start to think about which artifacts you want photographed that
Oh,
are
yeah.
that are represented. And I thought later, maybe there are some other artifacts that are not represented on in the inventory records that we feel
Oh, definitely.
are really important. So I guess we shouldn't limit ourselves.
Oh, no. We just have to work on a list of stuff that we want to make sure is in this job. And it's a long list. A lot of the clothing, if we've had it in a show, we've got pictures of some sort for the show. And when the stuff is packed away, you're going to show clothing. I mean, you've got to take it out, you've got to unpack it, you've got to, either with hangers or something else, you've got to put it in a situation where it shows what it looks like. And then take pictures. And that's very
Would be
time-consuming and difficult. So my view is, as a whole for the clothing, I would say, let's use pictures we've got for most of it. And concentrate on other things for this part, because that's going to be really hard to do.
And how about when we're working on clothing, so if I do get to help you,
Oh, yeah.
that we can take photos
Oh, sure.
on a mannequin or something, or whatever form she's using to work on. So
Yeah, things that haven't been in,
Right.
in anything
so
before.
that it's
Yeah.
not, all folded up and put away and. Yeah.
work out a system though, so that your images reference to the number box. Also, I need to ask Edie if there's been any clothing that is, exceptional, that we wouldn't have any pictures of because it happened after the exhibitions that we had. I would not, I have to ask. I wouldn't know.
My answer to that is, there are things that were in the show in 1969, the first show that we did, and that was photographed then. They aren't, the quality of the photographs is not what I'd like them to be, because they were on a person, and they were snapping them off as they went upstairs and
Mounted cameras.
back again. Yeah, almost that.
Yeah.
And so, But later on, you know, some of the later stuff, when we were displaying them on mannequins and stuff, we've got better pictures. And the picture may show more than one thing, but that doesn't mean you can't. Okay, this is the photo because this one and this one.
Well, and also, does the photo show the detail that you saved, that we're saving?
Yeah,
Does it really convey any information about why it's special?
but there are several things, and some of these are earlier things that were in that first show that we haven't shown since. And those things were pretty well documented before. They were in the little documentary book that has pictures and stuff. And so a lot of that stuff was done then that way. And it's in a different form than we might do it now. It's fine in terms of the basic document. But then we have, I mean, a lot of the things that were in the more recent shows were, at least some of them, more recent acquisitions too. And of course, not the last show, but the show before that, was all from Joanne's collection. Some of that stuff had been shown before, but that was, a lot of that stuff had been shown before, but that show is all that stuff. And that's when we got it. And if it packed up after that, it's when we got it.
And that was in the last.
That was in the town hall.
Yeah.
And we had the big key. The next one, they did this exhibit around the sides with the island in the middle, which is all wooden.
Were any of those wedding dresses not given? I mean,
No, all of those were collections.
and were they given at that time? Because those,
Possibly, and one set of them I know was given close to that time, and that's why we have them. But in both cases, it was 6 dresses. It was 3 generations of the same family on one side and 3 generations.
it was a wonderful.
And one of them is Edith and her mother's and her grandmother Nutty. And of course, Cindy, her daughter Cindy, wore grandmother Nutty for her. And the other one was Janet O'Brien and Viola Phipps and Viola's mother. And so those are 3 generations. Both of those are 3 generations. And the middle ones, you know, 1930. So it's very different.
Oh, yeah.
Very different stuff. And very much in period kind of clothing as opposed to wedding dress. Whereas the newer ones were very much wedding dress. And the earlier ones were.
Yes, I don't remember. We have booklet, yes, album of 69 shows,
69 show we have a book.
and then the next show,
In the 80s, we never put it together because we had one in the 80s.
we have loose photos.
Yeah.
So there's really only one album.
Then there's also an album for the before the 1980s show, a year or 2 earlier, we had a wedding dress show. And there's an album for that wedding dress show. That was in the early 80s.
So it could have been,
Part of the collection.
I think so. Maybe not. Some of the ones that weren't then are now. A number of things have been given to it. That show has the bar. And the first one has bar.
and then there was a 4th show, which was the wedding dress show.
No,
There's another show in between. Oh, yeah, we have like 3 other ones.
The 80s, after the 80s,
Yeah.
there's one in, well, there's the one that Dick did of his mother's collection.
And then the hat.
And then there's the most recent one. There's a hat show following that is a hat show. And then there's another one, which is the last show that we did.
But there's
And we've
another,
got copious photographs of these last couple of shows, but we don't have.
those are digital.
Yeah, the last show is digital.
I can't remember if the last show was the wedding show or
No.
whether Joanne's show.
No, it wasn't a wedding show. It did have some wedding dress, as I said, but most of it was not.
Okay.
But that happened after we got the stuff from Florence and so stuff, some of the wonderful stuff that Florence and father child and he was the only child. Well close by his mother. Also, she had the collection of all of his shoes, every pair of shoes he ever had. Growing up. But we didn't get it. They got taken out of the house and weren't kept organized. Yeah. They were lined up at one time.
Yeah.
And I never saw it, but I heard about it. I mean, and we probably have some of those that came in. By the time that David was going through stuff, and didn't do it, that whole thing had not been organized.
Well, I count at least 6 shows that could have generated.
Oh, yeah, there are photos that go with each one of them. And the first 2 have got a book. And the other 2 have got these pictures. And, digital photos.
Okay.
I took a set of pictures for our show. And Jeff Brule. Between them. Pretty ample. Shows everything. I won't say everyone has an individual. Shows everything.
That was the show that had the wedding.
This is, yeah. And then the wedding section of that was set up for something else a few months later, before it was taken all apart. We had it set up in the select mention, something that was going on. And we put that particular part of it up in there before we took it back. So that was shown a second time.
Okay. So I'm going to follow up with some questions to Margaret about ever-present and the timing of that part of the project. The rest of it, I'm not worried about right now.
Yeah.
Except if you think about what are these, these 50 objects that have.
Yeah, we got to work on that now. We talked to Margaret about this anyway. Question 1 is, how soon can we spend money?
Ready immediately.
It is really neat. Or at least,
That was made clear, the money there.
I know, but I mean, sometimes you have other,
No,
this is a lot of them available in this case. But that is one.
that was made clear to us. Once the town approves it.
Well, there are things that work that way and there are other times.
The land. totally different. Anybody else?
And as far as that's concerned, based on the requirements, I don't see it as it's a $500 charge. It's a company that's reputable and you have experience having dealt with them. And so you don't have any issues about quality. And I don't see that.
You said that's a $500, that's their part of it?
That's what they asked.
So there's no real reason. I mean, I don't think we've got to jump over and do it.
That was based on the number of pages.
Yeah,
It's about $2. They figure it's about $2. And we, for some reason, I estimated or 200. I estimated 200 pages, so that we have some wiggle room with the last.
one of the things we can do is do a more accurate.
It's less than that. But the second, one of the notebooks has, I mean, I only looked at it once. The second notebook has a lot of little notes inside.
Oh,
And I don't know.
I've got to take the extraneous papers out of it.
Okay.
Then I'll have to do that carefully. But there are notes and other things that are put in the notes.
And I know it's the details that take time.
That's right.
I understand that completely.
And I've just got to make sure that I have that, the things are there and I take them out and note on them so that I know where to put them back. So I could file the file. But yeah, that's good. I know that's good. And what that is, in some cases, is some things for a given year along the way that you wrote some stuff, listed stuff, numbers. And that's something that I'm important in getting into.
Okay. Well, the other big item. Nominations. We have three volunteer applications, none of which I copied. Sorry.
I have it all here. I did them in order.
The first one is Carl Wickstrom, the second one is Walter Bickford, and the third one is Janet Whitman. So,
Yes, I understand.
I'd like to act on Janet first.
You don't want to do them in order?
Well, we actually talked about Janet previously before the application.
I'm just trying to do easy first. But we can do it another way. We also,
why don't we discuss them in order?
all right, is that all right with you there? And I did reach out to Margaret, and there's no prohibition for family members to be on the payment.
There's no legal.
But there's a financial thing that you have. Sure that
If you're submitting expenses, say I was charged, I would just.
Oh. So that would mean two signatures, two people.
two of the commissioners.
But those are, in this situation, I mean, at the cemetery, that's a thing because of other matters. But it's not here because we don't have that much of that. And if there's expenses coming in, I don't see it. I do have a concern about two people doing something on the floor. It's always been a chief in my family.
I think that if we had a good, a better situation. I don't know if this is, all hypothetical, if we were able to interest more people in
Yeah,
using the skills and background that we need, then Carl probably wouldn't have felt.
Right, he certainly
Yeah.
has the experience.
Yeah, well, he.
well, yeah, I mean, there's no issue about that. He's a good candidate. The only issue that I would have is that it's something you gotta be careful of.
My feeling is, I think that he's doing fair
I think
to,
that
to us and whoever else comes on. But,
might not be perceived that way by
it might
others.
not be perceived that way, and that's,
And that's, I don't have a problem with that either.
I'm not,
Personally.
The issue of perception is, I mean, the number of times that would be an issue, I don't. But that's something. No, I mean, Kyle is a good candidate. The only possible issue.
So, and then
yeah, we
Yeah,
can just
we want to
discuss.
discuss the next one.
The next one is.
Walter's strength is his energy. But there's a issue of personality, personal dynamic that I don't feel will work well with the people we have.
It's more than that. Because, I personally feel that Walter has been such a negative influence against the historical society and the historical commission that he has badmouthed so much the negative thing that it has turned people off. I think it's one of the problems why we're having difficulty finding people to volunteer. Like it's doing.
He actually goes to people and tells them not to help us, not to do
Well,
things.
and I cannot, this isn't, this is just experience and especially based on recent things, not
No, this isn't time to.
and strictly this whole modus operandi. Too negative, and I personally wouldn't go through it. And I have no problem saying that. He has a lot of energy and he's got a lot of experience, but the negativity is a huge factor.
I have personally been the subject of verbal assaults by Mr. Bickford in public meetings on a number of occasions. And the Historical Commission, some years ago, I'd have to go back to look to find out which, but it was some years ago, that he yelled and screamed at us at the Historical Commission and went out the door and stuff. And I'm sorry, I've had this experience enough times with him. I had a cemetery commission meeting in this room in which he launched into yelling at me. And we got up and left. And he yelled at me all the way down the hall, all the way down the stairs to the outside door. And then I didn't go out because I didn't want to go out with him. And I'm sorry, I should have gone into the police station and reported an assault because it was ridiculous.
There's no place for that. There's no place for that.
Somebody that's got that record, I'm sorry, I don't want to serve it.
No, it's not. It's not. And it's not. And the other thing, I don't know how it will go, but it's not that I wanted my husband with him or whatever.
No,
And there's
no.
none of that. We're being factual
Yep.
and fair and open-minded. And there has been a lot of good things in town, and I don't take that away from it. But the negativity towards all the historical.
I want to say, Mr. Bickford has been very generous with things given to the collection. Wonderful stuff. Much of it of an industrial nature, agriculture, ice business, and so on. And we're very thankful for those things. And I would still ask Paul to talk about this and do a program or something like that. He has much to offer in that regard, and we appreciate that. But trying to work within the committee side. And his commitment to town history is fine. And the nature of things that he was interested in are quite different from my own and some others, and that means it brings another whole dimension to things, which is good. And but I'm not happy with trying to.
Okay. And the third application is Janet Woodward. Janet is trained in the museum there, and she was retired.
Yep. Yeah. Janet's got a variety of things that make a good candidate for this, and good to work with. I'm sure we'll have a different outlook on a lot of it, on a lot of matters.
Exactly.
We'll bring a useful or give and take.
I think he did enough work here too.
Oh, I'm sure. Different than you might prefer. No, that's also good. No, a variety of reasons why I think Janet would be. And she certainly has been sympathetic and interested in the general, in our general stuff and over time. And if we took both Janet and Charles, we would have the commission for the first time. And that's all for somebody else to pick up some of the things that might be done.
I did,
Carl is also saying that we can take a project and take it on.
I did tell Janet that we would need her to attend meetings, but we would not until she's ready because of her personal obligation at home. I said that she would not expect her to do much more than really be present until she is ready. She mentally is ready, but that's a big thing.
Yes.
The only problem I have with the rules is the time. Yeah,
I didn't ask Janet.
Well, that's one of the things you have to do is have a meeting and decide when you can have a meeting.
We might be able to do one day in winter.
Um, Evenings would be,
Yeah. As long as it doesn't conflict with the
yeah. I mean, I was, the only reason we went today, I'm not supposed to do this.
well, it changed dramatically. Yeah, really, because, you know, we have a period of time.
Yeah.
But,
We could. I'm gonna recommend any of these. That's how I understand.
we'll take a vote on it.
Have to give our reasons for recommending or not.
Well, that's why we had our discussion.
Well,
Yeah, we've had this discussion, and I think the discussion. We don't have the power to vote on any. Or, yes,
We can vote to recommend.
and we can,
now, can, this is a point, can, Elaine vote to recommend Carl?
well, that would be good.
Or not, but me?
Unless you ask them to.
Well, I mean, yeah, we could go. I think that, basically, the fourth board goes to the chair. So I don't know why you would say we just talking about me.
We recommend.
Or we recommend, we should go in order then, are we going to recommend Carl?
In the interest of government resolution.
I just have one question. You mentioned that Carl might not want to be made for the long term.
Well, he still fulfilled his
It's true.
commitment, he was still a time.
Yeah.
And things that were interesting.
What would you do?
I don't know, I haven't,
It was in one of the letters.
well, and it's, I mean, it's in the town report every year.
No. It was a reminder.
But you and I were just appointed this year. So we've got the 3 years.
It was in
The one, the two that are left has got to be 1 or 2 years.
And that those terms will be issued. Or just, I mean, how, we're not filling the vacancy, are we technically filling the vacancies of our two lost
Yeah.
members, Richard and Madeline? I mean, that's, Richard died in 2020.
But you were told.
Yes.
no, now it was still on it.
Oh, you replaced him and Madeline was still here then? Okay.
Yes.
All right, so it's Madeline
Did
and
it come to the
Madeline and Dick, and it's what, you know, whatever the term is.
But I think there was a reminder, and maybe it was more that we hadn't done it, and it said, you know,
Yeah.
we were trying to get it open, and I don't have that copy.
Yeah, it's gonna be- both of them are gonna be less than 2 years, one of them may be less than 2 years. Before it comes up, that's reappointment. Yeah,
So if we appoint two,
we don't appoint.
I mean, if we recommend two and they follow our recommendation, do they decide who
Yeah.
the
I
top?
mean, what's the,
Yeah, right.
Well,
Definitely, you know, you can make it really.
I mean, I will say this, maybe I'll be wrong, but I suspect that, appointing these two people, and whoever runs out next May is likely to be appointed. And maybe by the time the next year comes up, that person might be going out. I just don't see it as an issue for us.
No, Colin, they're gonna put a long wall, it's,
Yeah. Well, for a term of
exactly.
I don't want to tell anybody that they're committed beyond the term that they're signed up for.
That's also,
I just want to understand it.
Yeah,
Commit.
no. I don't, to me, it doesn't really make any difference.
We're recommending,
you want to recommend.
needs to be a motion.
I don't think-
We just need to agree.
Yeah, and I think we've got enough information tonight.
Nice thing. Recommendation. And we formulate a recommendation slash feedback for the select board on. In the community,
Of the-
please advise me.
of what we
Feedback by this line.
We have 3 candidates. If you want to request something, I move that we recommend.
So that's a motion.
Yeah,
And, Mary does say here that. Mary feedback by firewall, the woman. She has a distribution here.
Really.
She's saying that.
maybe for the selectmen too.
Anything else on this?
I second. And then we should take a roll call vote.
Barry, aye.
Aye. Scott Hawkins mentioned that there might be somebody who would say who would be interested in having a. I'm not sure I know who it is. And I wish I had gotten the name down, but we did talk about this probably a week ago. But if I follow that up, and that person does does want to give that person the encouragement to be in a
Um, I would like to know more.
about who it is, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, both of these people that we've recommended are people that we know.
Historical architect, I've read about him in the, I know where I can go with the CPA project. I looked up everything online and I can see what the other towns were using the money for. Been involved in some of these historical.
Okay, and I'm, if it's fine with you, I'm going to send Scott a little email and ask you to give me that name so that
Yeah.
invite him or not.
I mean, yeah, I mean, that's not something that I'm
Not
saying.
right now, yeah.
Well,
But
I don't want to let it go because
You know, we're
if
running.
we don't even know the person's name, I'm not prepared to say, to take any action on it.
I just,
But
I am,
the idea is fine and sure, pursue it. See what we- see
I
what-
just want to ask who it is.
We didn't.
Well,
He isn't an architect.
I don't. Well, he does know. He does know. Background with the stuff.
And I was just asking.
Right. I know the first time it was mentioned, a while back. And I thought it was really good. But I didn't know he was with him.
Okay,
Wouldn't we- how wouldn't we know?
Well, like I say, I read about it in the project.
because we don't network.
Yeah, I was,
Not in Berlin.
well, no, he doesn't. You know, Boston, yeah. Work out.
But the other thing is, I don't know how long we've been. It's publicly active as well. We don't know.
The other thing I don't want to lose sight of, even though we have a lot to do, is to have a presentation. And we did talk about it from last week, and I summarized that as best I could. Maybe, well, maybe we could do one or two things. We could brainstorm as a group with our new members. So that plan to have some kind of beginning of a framework. And that would be.
There's a working meeting.
Yeah.
A working meeting.
I'm leaving the vote. But we don't, I don't, we're gonna have to do that right off, but.
Before I do a lot of that, I get one or two of them another time.
Yeah,
Most people can get familiar with what might be in it.
Mhm. Yep, I have looked at, I have done that.
Yeah, I know, Walton did one about that. Most of them involve spending money to get it.
you mean spending money to formulate a plan?
Spending money to do it.
Well, we don't,
I think.
I don't know that, I hope that is necessary, that doesn't mean you wouldn't have some things to do. But that's what you have an annual budget for. Save a few expenses.
Well, you know, you said that, that's one of the things on my list. I think we seriously have to increase our budget because we have no wiggle room on anything. You know, really.
And we have to be very careful what we do.
Oh, I know that. But, you know, the Historical Society isn't very active and, you know, another project undertaken, but, you know, so there's no real income flow. You know, to help do the things that we want to do. And there are going to be little projects here and there that, you know, will require a little bit of cash. I'm not saying a huge budget, I'm just saying a reasonable budget. Not very.
Just to do better with the Hogan, we need probably $200 worth of boxes. Maybe more, I don't know.
I was thinking a lot more than that.
Edie's a champion of the box.
Well, anyway,
We've, no,
so the society has some money, but, you know, we've got so much that's going to come up with voting and whatever, that, you know, we don't have any resources. We don't really have any kind of.
Well, the society paid for the personal stores and other items. So
And they contributed a lot towards the purchase.
that was just as much.
already paid for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Over the years, the society paid for that stuff.
Just citing what they did.
Right, but there's gonna be maintenance issues.
Well, they paid me too.
There's gonna be little maintenance
That's right.
issues, you know. And it's a little unknown, you know, with this, the mitigation money is all going to anything. Well, I've known these years. Our budget is committed to, you know,
Well, the piece in the pie is we've had a budget that was given level. And without having to do a lot to justify it, we've been able to keep that budget. If we want to get money for specific things and increase our budget for that, we have to keep in mind that we may have to, if we want to try to keep that same level budget, we've got to justify that. And it's not right to say we need this much more to do X, and then the next year want the higher amount without similar justification.
Right. If we don't, you know, I'm not one. But if you have a need, you know, you're gonna have a lot of miscellaneous. You know, we've gone back on the mitigation all the time.
What do you estimate will be a family after the 2.5?
I didn't think that. And if it's.
Oh, no.
It's
That's gonna use it. That's using,
I think,
we're well into the undesignated.
But wouldn't there still be 10 grand?
it's gonna be, no, I don't think so, because this, we were going on the assumption that the actual quotes might be higher than 10, and they are, but they're going to be a little incidental. And I asked the Boston if you know, can you go to them for more mitigation money if the things happen during the project, and they said yes. So that's going to take away, you know, we already know that the front still, and that's threshold, you know, they feel that, you know.
Well, that's gotta be done with this.
Right, right. So, you know, that was part of it was all done. But we can't get into doing all of that and extend it that far. So that's going to be another add-on over what they got before. So we'll see how that all comes out. But between that and studying and what's being done, if they run into any problems in that extension, or that could really just like a second.
Well, I think it would be a good idea for us to know our balance at this point, right, to subtract 2.5 and the 20 grand for the bill. and
Are
see
you
if-
talking about the CPA now?
No, we're talking about the mitigation.
Yeah, I had done a calculation and it was like enough money left.
We're talking about what, maybe?
the Highland Commons mitigation money that we were awarded for the Bullard House.
Oh, for that money, okay.
Let me, after the meeting,
Yeah.
I will go and talk to you, because I wanted to have that for this meeting, but other stuff.
I'm just curious to know.
Yeah.
Even though it wouldn't include new threshold, what is that?
Right. I have, I've been doing zoning traction.
Okay, so good.
Instead of bugging her, and I don't do that.
That's okay. I just, that would be a good piece of information.
Yes, that we need to know, because that's right now,
It's getting,
that's
getting
money
down,
that
it's
we,
getting down.
it's getting down, oh, yeah. And,
We spent more than the CPA. We were,
oh, yeah, the CPA money, the 10% was all used up in the Bullet House project, and plus a significant amount from the undesignated.
Well,
And then the smaller project is all from the undesignated. So we've cleaned that out as far as that, as the reserve source, until we have new money that is.
right, and we're gonna know that.
Yeah.
And then, because we went to a 3%, we actually get more, we get more.
Mhm.
So you get the one, that now is, whatever percentage. And then smaller.
From the state.
Okay.
The state gives us money, gives us more money because we've got a 3%.
And they told us to count on at least what we got, because of the money from the loan, and they had said,
Yeah.
count on at least what we got back. Yeah. And so we-
Because
That's-
the state
that's-
revenues have been.
Exactly.
But you're right, I mean, right now, we've been going with that other money that we had. And, but I guess the piece in this that I'm thinking about is what it's like to deal with the finance committee on these things. And they tend not to want to give you budget money unless it's something you can reasonably assume you're going to.
I think we've got to open a discussion, that, like, when the mitigation money is gone. And start with Mr. Flint as, society fund for handling. We're going to need to, if they have to make clear to us, are they going to, how is our electricity paid for? Is that through the town? So that's right, separate meter. Now, or,
The town covers,
so
the town covers electricity, oil, and service. And food. Those things are in the town budget along with all the other things. When we bought Hub, the next article on the warrant was $2,000 to cover the items for the next year. And then that has stayed in the budget. So those things are covered that way. And we said, you can raise money to do renovations and fix something up. You can't raise money to do anything. And that's why we went that route. So we have had the, that's taken care of in the town budget in other accounts, not ours. And you do need to keep in mind that amount of money that's coming in for our benefit that's not in our.
but you can't use it for maintenance.
No, we can't use it for other
maintenance.
things.
You can't do it
No,
for us.
but what I mean is, in terms of what we're actually getting from the town, you should keep that in mind as something we get from the town.
Oh, I
In the
understand.
$600.
Oh, I understand that. But,
And the $600 does not always have to be spent on archival. That's where we usually spend it. But obviously, if we have other expenses, we're going to spend it on some of that. And we also have the potential for having to do advertising for public hearing just to have a demolition.
You can't complete this.
We haven't had one for a while, but that doesn't mean we won't have three next year.
Where do we stand, as far as available money, $600, and when would we have to spend it?
The $600 is there. I don't know that we've expended anything this year yet. That would be on those papers you just said.
Yeah.
And,
How long do we have?
until June 30th.
So, and that's what we did this year. We were running low on boxes and such, and that's what we did.
Very typically late in the year, we buy some stuff.
Yeah, late, because we didn't have any expenses from any,
Some other-
chemical delays or anything like that. Nothing with advertising.
But we could certainly spend it on something else if we felt the need.
Also, we can ask the society for money.
Oh, definitely. We can also always ask the society for money.
What I'm thinking here is those artifacts that get photographed, some of those need better protection than they have right now. And I would hope that we would take that opportunity to really protect it.
Things that we get out that we can contain better, we should try to do that.
I mean, it's a small sample, but it's an important sample, and that opportunity is right in our face.
I mean, quite normally, odd things like that, we've simply taken them out. And that, and the society is happy to spend money. One of the reasons that it exists.
Actually, the society has taken
Small amounts of fiber.
after 3 boxes.
Industrial.
Labels.
Yeah.
And Edith
I
does
know they
similar
were
things to that,
yeah,
when she
there was
goes
a lot
through
of
things like this.
Yeah.
Very much little incidentals like that.
But it really adds up.
Well,
Of course it does.
after a while.
I
Less than $100.
you know, the impression I have is that the Historical Society is, Historical Commission primary budget is basically supported by the Historical Society.
Yeah. That's why the society was founded.
Marcia has often, not often, but she has made the argument that I'm good at doing work.
And it has.
And it has.
I guess, right?
I mean, take a look at what we've been doing of late
Yeah.
and what we've got laid out now.
They have.
They have.
It's unfortunate that it doesn't show yet, you know, but
We really do have to, whatever is, we have to.
That's definitely.
so, and we should probably consider that.
Yeah.
That's our first.
Now, the first thing you've got to do right now is get a budget. Because it's already November, and we're probably going to have to have a special meeting in order to approve the budget, because they want the budgets yesterday. Say,
Oh, I thought,
the capital budgets were supposed to be in the beginning of November.
well, I had to file one for the Board House. So Margaret made me file one for the money we're extending. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize that we had to do that. To fill out the paperwork for that project. Or a capital, as a capital expenditure.
weatherization.
Oh, you're talking about for capital,
capital.
for capital. Yeah.
So I have to do that.
So the capital ones have already been done.
I thought I read it out.
No. You're gonna do it with us.
Well, we did have, remember in June or May or June, we did ask for 1,000 and they gave us 600 and fire assumed responsibility for our alarm.
I thought we,
That's the current year. We're not filing for the budget until it begins next year, July. Budget process. Fiscal year goes from July 1 to June 30. Okay? Every year.
so we're in 22.
We're in fiscal 22 right now. We filed for that budget last November, December. It was voted on at the annual town meeting, May, and then was available as of July 1st. For the current year.
So you're saying we asked that was that budget
That $1,000 business and we got
was for
600.
that
We requested it
in November?
or December, whenever we got it in. We got it in. We requested it then. The finance committee put it to 600 and we got our 600.
Okay.
Where's this?
And that is what we have to do now is prepare a budget for next year. I will have to go look at what we put in last. I'll see if I can find it. The first $100 of the 600 is for possible notification of public hearings. And then toward the end of the year, we will spend it if we haven't ready. But we can't, we have to reserve $100 for that. Most of the time it doesn't cost more than that. If we go with the point item to have it on $100 for advertising. Contract services, 1,000. Other supplies, 500. So this is 600 and $1,000.
You want to do it again?
So we need to. So can we decide today? Can we demonstrate any?
I'm just trying to say, we need to be specific. Yeah, we have no account.
With this,
We used to have $80. Remember?
I remember a lot of things.
Yeah. We all-
For a number of years, we had a $300 special article. With the Art and Historical Committee, before we got an historical commission. But the Historical Society spent $600 or $1,000 when I was for the town record back in the 1960s.
Why don't we say for us? Because
They write a paragraph to go with it. And
Yeah.
I've got to find the one I wrote for last
This is fiscal year
23.
23. And it's still $100.
For advertising,
For
yeah,
advertising, it's still good.
500 for supplies, I think it's good. So mostly storage, not even stuff like that. We know we could spend a lot of money on that. We spend that much for people.
Instead of waiting till the end of the year and then go by at the end of the year.
Right, it's been, we often do an order and along and get. And what we do try to do is watch from the website. And last week we watched that stuff. There's no shipping. And that was golden for us because we didn't spend as much as we thought. We should have bought more. We don't know that.
Well,
Yeah, she did. But we'd already made our. But if you're gonna ask for $1,000, you gotta.
do you want to increase? Archival supplies? Increase the amount.
You know, we asked for last year.
I think the 500 is okay. Let me say this. We can't use them that fast. Because it's a lot of work and time. I mean, buying a whole bunch of boxes that we aren't gonna use for a long time.
We don't have any
We
place
got
to put them
we got a
anyway.
storage problem.
I mean, we've already got, we cleaned out the 2 boxes that were up in the ballroom that still had a few boxes. And got that all out of it. But we still have got in the back corner of the annex, we still have got 2 boxes that are archival, the vertical archival file box. Like we have on the shelf for that. And we use the records.
How many,
File folder.
how many do you have? A couple?
Huh?
What did you say?
There are 2 big boxes. There are some that are the wide boxes and some that are the skinny boxes. And now that we've got the doors out of the way in front of them, which I used to have to go around to get in there, I can probably pull them out and we probably could get them all done. Because we're taking a lot of them. But we still have a number on both sides. So I don't think we need to buy more of those. But at the same time, if you buy a whole mess of that stuff, then you got, what do you do? Store an empty boxes of it. So
But
it's
this
much
one-
as 500 a year, we can buy some more and we've made great progress in that and we will continue. And the society could buy more.
So you don't want to increase it? Because this is for the future year and, you know, we're gonna have, you know, we're gonna have to get a lot done this year, hopefully. You know, make more progress and we are gonna.
But I think at 500 a year, we've got enough. I think so.
We don't have to increase it.
Depends on how much work we want to do.
I mean, it's very, I have all the desire in the world for that, but at the same time, it's the reality of how many days a week are we gonna go up there and work and how many use them up?
All right, you wanna leave it the same?
I think that's all right. The big thing is if you wanna do something about an increase, we've gotta have a detailed, we can get away with the 100 and the 500, with not much more than just saying what they're for. But we do have to justify this. And I know we wrote something for it last year, but I don't remember. Right now, I've got to go home. I probably have got that in the computer. Well, like, when the meeting's over,
Okay,
I can look in here and see if I've got a file.
That's under contract.
That's what we put it down for, and that was so that we could hire people to do it.
yeah, and, you know, and as you get into the digitalization thing too. Yeah, some of that.
Oh, yeah, when you do projects like that, it increases your potential for need.
But it doesn't increase the need, it increases your capability.
But they made a big thing about
They have a
paragraphs of explanation. And I will look those up. I think they're in this computer. Can we agree on the $1,000 on the contracted services that we want to ask for? And since we didn't get it last year, let's keep it up. And secondly, we will work on the description of it outside the meeting in order to submit it. Yeah, we should.
I think we have to stick to our guns on that.
Sure.
It's not frivolous.
Of course, it's not frivolous. And again, we can also say we have relied on the Historical Society for expenses that should reasonably be commissioned.
So why, so we don't have.
It should be there. You didn't get it?
I went at the assessors yesterday, so I took what was in the box, and what was in the box is what I just gave you.
Let me just go on to-
$749.
I don't know what. Donation. We don't have to justify that.
No, that's just, this is just.
Right, but we don't spend it.
No, I know the agricultural has a budget, tax, the things that they do regularly. And then.
Okay,
So when they come, we have to respond to it, but it's
Okay.
not gonna be a big, long window.
But,
We really should make our decision.
yeah, we still have $749. Donation.
Yes,
And
although
we could always,
all but about 100 of that is money that was given for the bullet. It should be spent on the bullet.
except this last time that we got.
Yeah, the last 100 was not restricted. But before that, one of the times that we did campaign for the bullet house on the Historical Society, we had people give it to the town.
oh, we did.
And so that's what the 629 was paid for.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
So 600 of that is for the bullet house, and we can spend it any way we want it for the bullet house.
Okay, so that's that.
Yeah. We won't.
Location.
We won't find that out. Hundred. And I mean, we had more than 600. We had $600 we spent it. On the bullet house, yeah, on projects that we've done. And then, you know, we ended up with 649 left at that time. We just had some other cases. But if we had something come up that we really need to spend it on for the house.
Or anything else?
I move that we request the budget for next year of $1,600. Very similar to what we proposed last year, and we will work on the paragraphs to go with it. Looks like
Fiscal year Okay,
And June, Elaine seconded. Gary, aye.
Marina,
five.
3-0.
$1,600. Paragraph. Any other business?
Oh, there it is, right there. That's in here.
what would we do without her?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
$100 advertising for legal notice of provision. $500 other supplies. We've requested $1,000 for the fire alarm at the Curatorium wiring. Okay, that was for the fire alarm. That's done.
For it,
Out of public buildings. So we can't use that one anymore. Are we done with the agenda?
well, unless there's any other business unspecified. other business.
Yeah.
Yes, there's, that one thing that you sent me about,
Oh, yeah.
Rebecca.
Rebecca and other stakeholders in the center
Oh,
want to follow up their Halloween event with one for Christmas. And so she sent me a message and I said that I would attend Monday, the 7th at my Carter. And then I forwarded that to society members and then I forwarded it to Wayne and looked at that. So I don't know if you want to send that or you have any thoughts. It's not clear to me whether this one is